I used to joke that I was allergic to spreadsheets because everything lived in my head. Every launch was different, and it felt creative until I realized I couldn't repeat my wins or explain the flops. And I'm going to show you exactly what I changed and how I went from a chaotic, multi-passionate artist to building a 7-figure business multiple times. So before we get into it, I made you a marketing rhythm map so you can implement exactly what we're talking about. Links in the description. The first thing is that creative type entrepreneurs, and I'm talking like artists, authors, and multi-passionates like yourself, tend to resist things like systems, organization, and structure, and it's the very thing that's limiting your revenue. I prided myself on flying by the seat of my pants. I was always shooting from the hip in the dark. That was a favorite saying of mine. I was full of ideas and I was going in all directions at once. I'm like, let's do this today. Now let's do this today. And I got this new idea. And that is exactly the recipe for burnout. Most creatives that I meet do experience frequent burnout, and it's because of this very thing. It turns out that this one thing I'm going to tell you about is kryptonite for creative visionary type entrepreneurs, and here's why. You're probably multi-passionate with different projects, different products, you've got ideas, you got all these irons in a fire, and you probably have an existing audience and some sales and a bit of traction already, and you just can't stop the ideas. You're either like a pinball machine pinging all over the place, causing yourself complete chaos, or you're basically running on a treadmill. You're not ever growing because you keep switching marketing ideas and systems and chasing shiny objects and this program and that program. And now I'll try this and now I'll try Yap videos and now I'll do the blah, blah, blah. And you keep trying new things every 5 minutes because you see something working for someone else. That's what's leading to part of this burnout. But here's the thing. Real marketing is 3 things: predictable, repeatable, and scalable. Okay, if it's not those 3 things, predictable, repeatable, and scalable, it's not marketing. It's a big experiment. Great marketing is usually boring marketing to us creatives, right? So the problem with a lot of creative entrepreneurs is that you're chasing excitement in all the wrong places. And the difference between where you are right now and where you want to be is systems. Systems, systems, systems. I can't say it enough. So what we need to do is determine which part of your business needs systems first, because the order matters. Like if we're implementing the right thing at the wrong time, that's just more wasted time and effort and will put you backwards. So the order of this matters. The second thing is that the more of a creative person you are, the more you need systems in order to be profitable. Creativity is like the paint and the systems are the canvas for you to paint on, okay? Here's why this matters. As an artist, I used to tell my husband that I'm allergic to spreadsheets and I would fly by the seat of my pants. I would be winging it all the time. That's like the natural thing that artists tend to do. We feel our way through things, right? But without the structure, without boundaries, without data-based decisions and repeatable systems, we're just going off of how we feel that second, that minute, our intuition, our gut feeling, which is not always accurate. In fact, sometimes it can really lead us down the wrong path. And we don't want to turn all of that intuition off, but without the boundaries, we can go way off base and it can actually make really bad decisions. So here's what happens as a creative entrepreneur when you're not using systems. Here's the difference between no systems versus systems, specifically for creative entrepreneurs. Again, artists, authors, musicians, people with a million ideas. You're a visionary type. This is you, okay? So no systems leads to absolute chaos versus peace. Peace of mind. Second is disorganization versus calm, okay? Most creatives have a little bit of a fried nervous system at times, and when you're creating chaos in your business, you are creating the disorganization that is also frying yourself. It's not just the environment. It's not just the stuff you've been through. It's not just outside of life, but you're also creating this internally. And so we can create the peace and calm from having systems. The next thing is you can't repeat results. Every time you did something that worked, you're like, that was amazing. What did I do? And you're not actually able to even diagnose what you did or didn't do because it wasn't recorded. There was no documentation. So you don't even know how to repeat what worked. When you have marketing and sales systems, you can just repeat it over and over again and iterate on those things because everything's documented. It's all recorded. You know exactly what you did. There's a huge difference. The creative entrepreneur that doesn't have systems has a lot of anxiety all the time versus being excited. Now, depending on how you frame it, those two emotions are very similar, right? Like you can be nervous going on stage. Like I'm a musician, right? So if I go on stage to sing or go to do something, You can feel terrified, or it can be, I am incredibly excited, right? And excited means we care about the project. Anxious is anticipating the worst thing that's going to happen. So there's a really big difference between these two, anxious versus excited. With systems and processes, you get to go from that feeling of worst case scenario all the time, and you're always trying to predict the worst thing so that you can be safe, to your nervous system feeling like it can relax into excitement about what you're doing. Next is emotional decisions. You're always making emotional decisions, again, based on how you feel that day and which way the wind is blowing, because you don't really have anything to go off of, versus database decisions. When you go off of the data and what the data is telling you, the data always tells us a story. And again, part of our superpower as creative entrepreneurs is leaning into that intuition, leaning into the feelings, but you can't do that alone. It's intuition plus data. And those two things together can be beautiful, but it takes experience and it takes time to learn. And for the average entrepreneur, they have no idea. The average entrepreneur does not know their data. Okay, let me repeat. You don't know your data. You don't know how long does it take for someone who enters your ecosystem to purchase your product. You don't have that data. You don't know what your average order value is across your whole ecosystem or across your best-selling product. Most people do not know all the core pieces of data that it takes to run a successful business and get it from off the ground to 6 figures to 7 figures. And I'm telling you, you need systems for this. You need systems to be able to even know, what data do I record? How do I record it? What's the frequency I need to record it? How can I automate some of that record keeping? And then how do I interpret the data? And then how do I make good decisions off the data? Everything you're doing right now is just literally guessing and hoping it's right and going off of how you feel and how what you did that day made you feel. And then when you don't get the results you're wanting, you're kind of panicking and freaking out and then making these emotional decisions that have nothing to do with actually a good business decision. And then as a result, you're getting burned out, okay? Versus being energized. Let me tell you, when you're doing the right things and you know what you're doing is working, making money is not only easier, but you feel so excited about life. You feel excited about what you're doing because it's like, it's got momentum and I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what's working. I know why it's working. The data's showing me it's working. And then you can feel into it. You can lean into that. You can relax. So the burnout comes from working really, really hard at things all the time and it not amounting to anything. The burnout comes from going in too many directions at once and getting totally spread thin and not feeling like you got anywhere at the end of the day. That's burnout, right? And working way too much, way too hard for way too long without results. So if that feels like it's resonating for you at all, then you need systems. These are just symptoms of having no systems. When you have organization in place, you're going to have all these things and life is fun. Business is fun and it's energizing. Not saying that every moment is great or that you're never going to do things you don't want to do, but it doesn't feel like such a drudgery and your nervous system feels like it's something you can handle and something you can sustain. I really love this quote from James Clear, who said, "We do not rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems." So here's the thing. All problems are system problems. If you're not making great sales, if you're running into issues with building your audience or product development, or your customers want refunds or anything at all, any kind of issue at all, go back to your system. Something is broken. Or maybe you never found the right system to begin with. You don't have a recipe for doing anything. So here's my example, right? So if your grandmother has a famous family recipe and you want to repeat it, but you're doing it different each time you're going to get different results, right? It's not the same. You can't repeat it. So what do you need to actually do? I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of the 5 departments of business. 1 being, I have no systems in place at all. I clearly need to put one in place. 10 being, I'm rocking it. I have a system. It's predictable, repeatable, and scalable. Is it predictable? Is it repeatable? And is it scalable? Okay, that's how you're going to rate yourself every time you ask yourself, do I have this in place? Do I have a system for this that is predictable, meaning every time I do it, I get the same result? Is it repeatable, meaning I can do it every time the exact same way and I get the same result? And is it scalable? Could I duplicate myself? Could I give this to either an AI agent or an assistant or my child or another team member, and they're also going to get the same result? Is it something that I can duplicate? Okay, so that's how you're rating yourself on the scale of 1 to 10. So we're gonna go through the 5 departments of your business. And I just make it really simple because that's how I roll. It's A, B, C, D, E. That covers all the 5 areas of your business. So let's start with A. A is awareness, which is your marketing department. Right? How do people discover you? How do they come into your ecosystem? How do they go from, I didn't know that person existed and that brand existed, to now I know they exist and now I'm in their ecosystem and now they're seeing your stuff, your short form content or your long form content or your emails or whatever you're doing? How predictable, repeatable, and scalable is your current marketing system? Rate yourself on a 1 to 10. Next is B. That is for build. This is your product development department, product dev. Every single business needs to be creating new products all the time. You don't just build something once and now like sell it forever and never have to drop anything new. That's not the world we live in, okay? And I'm sorry if somebody marketed that to you, like you can have some faceless business that you never just build it once and sell it for the next 50 years. That's not gonna happen, okay? So in my background, I am a musician, right? And we have to drop new albums all the time, make new music all the time. We're always creating and dropping new things. As a musician, I would come out with new Christmas merchandise for the holidays. I would come out with merch, new t-shirts later on in the year. And even bands who have been around for 40 years, like the Rolling Stones or something like that, guess what they do? They drop a new album that now has been newly mastered. Same songs that have been there for 50 years, but now it's remastered and now they have a new vinyl that's in blue and a red one and a white one. And guess what? All the collector fans are going to come around and buy them all. You always have to be creating new products. Same with digital products. If you're a coach or a consultant or you're just a personal brand, you need to be coming up with new products or new ways to sell that same product. Or you take pieces of a product and you have to come up with new ways of selling that too. You need an entry-level product, you need a flagship product, and some kind of recurring membership of some kind. That is the ideal ecosystem. So how would you rate yourself on product development, right? Whether it's digital or physical products, it totally doesn't matter, but how would you rate yourself? Do you have a system for this? Do you have something that's predictable, repeatable, and scalable? Okay, rate yourself. Next is C, convert. This is your sales department. Again, how do you get someone from discovering you to actually buying from you? Do you have a way that's predictable, repeatable, and scalable? Or is it a fluke, right? Are you just like, oh, happened to get a sale today? Great. What about tomorrow? How do I sell to them tomorrow? What do I do? So if you don't have something, a system in place, then you're just leaving it up to the universe and luck, I guess. And no wonder you're struggling, right? No wonder creative entrepreneurs are constantly changing gears and changing ideas every 5 seconds. It's because they don't actually have a system in place that allows them to repeat the one thing that's working over and over and over again. It's so freeing when you have a sales system in place because that allows you to funnel all your creativity to the things that actually need it rather than experiencing the crazy highs of being in crisis mode all the time. We want to get out of crisis mode and get into, life is good. Let's relax. Let's put that creativity into writing a new book or going on vacation or doing something else, creating a masterpiece for dinner. Okay, let's put our creativity somewhere else other than constantly trying to invent new ways to sell. Let's create a system that does all of that for us over and over again. Again, predictable, repeatable, scalable. Rate yourself. Okay, scale of 1 to 10. Right. Then D is deliver. And this is our fulfillment. All right. So fulfillment covers, like if you're in e-commerce business, you're shipping products out. If you're in a digital business, it is onboarding new customers, onboarding new clients, and actually delivering the product and the result for them. Okay. So how is your deliver department? And the way you could measure this would be like things like in e-commerce, you might look at how long does it take to ship the items, right? If it takes 30 days to get something out the door and it wasn't a pre-order, we might have a problem because people aren't going to come back and order from you if it takes really long time to get their product, right? If it's a pre-order, that's something different. We'll talk about that in another video. And then with digital products, do people get the products that they paid for, right? Does it land in their inbox, or do they have trouble logging in? Do they have trouble accessing something because of tech issues? And then if you have like a coaching program, is everything kind of automated as much as possible so they can onboard into your program? And then whatever it is you do, right? How is the fulfillment? How are the refund rates? How is the churn rate? How long are your clients staying with you and buying from you again? Okay. So do you have repeat sales? We would measure all of those kinds of things in this deliver category. So important. So I would write those things down that I just said. Okay. So there's like time from the time they ordered. How long does it take to get what they purchased, whether it's physically shipped or digitally accessed? There's lifetime value. Do they come back and purchase from you again because they had a good experience, right? How big is your lifetime value? If your core product is $50 and your average lifetime value is only $50, that means that they're not coming back and purchasing from you again. You have work to do on your product. Your product isn't great enough that they're coming back. If your average product, maybe you're in the digital space, is $100 and your lifetime value on average is $500, that means people are repeat purchasing from you like gangbusters, and you have incredible products. So we're gauging things like that, not just the actual delivery of the product, but the client experience as well. There's a lot packed into that. So go ahead and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And then finally, we have E, which is efficiency. And this is basically my word for ops, right? I wanted to keep the A, B, C, D, E, so I just made up a word, right? Efficiency is your operations. The operations is the whole admin backside of things. It might be your tech stack. It's your inbox. It's your finances. It's the tracking. It's the metrics. It's kind of like the boring, maybe the legal side of your business. If you're at the very beginning of business, there's not a lot of ops happening other than your daily operations is mostly revolved around product development and selling. Just sell, 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 right? You're going to have a little bit of customer service. You're going to have a little bit of this, that, and the other thing. So how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? How efficient is your operations on a daily basis? This also might involve, if you do have like an assistant, how is your communication? How efficient is your team? So it extends outside of you. So you have a good idea here. When you look at this holistically, how would you rate yourself overall when you add it all up? So the maximum score you can get with all of this is 50, right? So you could have a max of 10 for each one. So something out of 50. Okay, so I want you to rate yourself because that's going to tell you how much you need to improve and whereabouts you need to improve the most. And then after that, what I want you to do is pick one department to work on per quarter to create a system. You're going to choose one that holds the most weight in bringing in revenue. Okay, so for most people, that's going to be marketing and sales. Most people need to start there. Now, I cover how to reverse engineer launching and doing all of that stuff in my $1 Million Launch Workshop. I'll throw that link in the description. It's short and it will show you the whole overview, the whole process, and the systems around that, okay? So if it's marketing, for example, what I want you to do next is you're gonna set up a cadence. A cadence is a rhythm. What are you doing daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly to do your marketing? If it is a digital-based business or it's a product-based business, that is going to look a little bit different, right? In a product-based business, we have weekly promos, sometimes daily promos, and then we have seasonal promotions. You got Christmas, you got Black Friday, you have Easter, you have 4th of July, you've got all these different promotions throughout the year, plus the daily emails that go out. And yes, we send 1 or 2 emails a day for e-commerce. If it's a digital-based business, you should also be building up your email list and coming with promotions, new product drops, and different things going on throughout the year, very similar to e-commerce, okay? So I hope this has been really enlightening for you. Again, grab my marketing cadence map in the description. It'll help you map out your whole marketing rhythm in about 30 minutes or less. That's the marketing cadence map. And if you want my help building this in your business, specifically with my eyes on your business, the details on how to work with me are in the description below as well. DM me on Instagram with the keyword castle, and I will send you all the details of what it looks like to work with me. All right, hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if I should make more videos in detail like this. See you in the next one.